And hello YouTube, and welcome back to my part 2 spoiler review of Avengers Infinity War. I'm your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for Avengers Infinity War, but this is my spoiler discussion and this is my second video. So if you want to see part 1, go look at that. That one is already up on YouTube. So let's talk about part 2. So at this point now, I already explained how the Avengers all died. Well, not like I said, not all the Avengers do die. We have some Avengers who are still alive, and I'm going to list them all. We have Captain America, obviously, which we all thought maybe he would die. Iron Man, Black Widow, Nebula, War Machine, Rocket Raccoon, Thor, Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Thanos, of course, is still alive because he kind of vanished out of somewhere, and he entered some like utopia place for himself. Obviously, Hawkeye's still alive because we didn't see him in this movie. Ant-Man and the Wasp are also still alive, but I have a feeling that one of them could die in their movie. Now, I'm not sure in the time. I know this is before, Ant-Man and the Wasp is before Avengers Infinity War, but I don't know how many days, hours, weeks, months, years it is. I'm pretty sure it's a couple. Because Avengers Infinity War is 6 years after Civil War. So maybe this takes place maybe a month before and after. Maybe their after credit is maybe Wasp disappears. Maybe Hank Pym disappears. We don't know. Now let's talk about everybody disappearing or supposedly dying. I was doing some thinking. I'm thinking to my head, are they really dead or are they alive? Because they did turn to ash and they just vanished. So it is a possibility that they could be dead. Or there's also a possibility that the Avengers who supposedly died and turned to dust got taken by the Soul Stone. And they could just be trapped in another dimension. We don't know. We have to just assume that they're dead at this point. Now, okay, then that leaves Captain America. That leaves Iron Man. What is he going to do? And how is he going to get back to Earth? My guess is that he's probably going to go back to Earth with Nebula. And try to figure out who's alive, who's left, who's still alive, and all that stuff. They're not going to kill off, obviously, for real, kill off Black Panther after making so much money in the box office with his movie. They can't kill Spider-Man because there's not even their character to play with, so that ain't going to happen. So I think they're going to come back eventually. I just don't know when or how. I do have my theory, but I'll save that for another video for my Avengers 4 thoughts. I'll save that for tomorrow. Or maybe later today, I'm not sure. But, like I said, some of the characters that were in this movie really shine for me. And I want to talk about that. Let's talk about Thor first. I thought Thor in this movie was really more driven than he usually is. I mean, obviously, he just had to deal with the whole fact that he lost his father in Ragnarok. And then, of course, and his sister attacked him. That he never even knew he had a sister. She died, of course, and then he lost Loki and Asgard. So he was more determined to really get revenge on Thanos. And he needed a new weapon. Because he needed something to stop Thanos. You could say, oh, why didn't he just use his electricity? Because he's the god of thunder. I don't think it's that simple. I think if he would have just used his powers on Thanos, it wouldn't matter no matter what. He needed to find a way to stab him. Because no matter how powerful Thanos is with the gauntlet, he's still vulnerable from, head to toe, technically. Because if he's blocking one Avenger, somebody can sneak up behind him and he doesn't realize it and stab him. And they got to take him out quickly before he uses the gauntlet to reverse time again anyway. So I think he needed that. So he had to go get a dwarf star, which is the star, which is kind of like a power that kind of makes what the weapons that anybody uses, whether it be the gauntlet, whether it be mirror, or any other kind of weapon that gets fashioned by these people or the elves or the dwarfs. Sorry, they create the power, but the facility was shut down, so he had to recharge it again, and he gets a new hammer, and it's a Stormbreaker, and this huge, massive axe-like hammer thing. It's basically like mirror, where he can just come, he can throw it, bring it back, and it's just bigger. That's all it is. Its handle is made out of Groot, so that's good. It was sad seeing Groot die again. I mean, poor Rocket had to deal with that. Bucky seeing, Steve Rogers seeing Bucky die, that was hard. Iron Man holding Spider-Man in his arms and, you know, thinking it's like his fault. So, there's that. Like I said, Scarlet Witch really surprised me. She's one of my favorite X-Men characters, but I like her a lot in this, in the Marvel Universe. Remember, she's very powerful, so we have not really seen her full power because she barely ever taps into it. I mean, she can do it, obviously, but if she really knew how to master it, like Doctor Strange does, and I'll get to him later after this one because he kicked butt. But, like I said, she could probably destroy the Infinity Stone, and she did. She destroyed one of the Infinity Stones. So if she was even more powerful, she probably could have beat Thanos on her own. Unfortunately, when she did, he time traveled back. He reversed time again with the Time Stone, knocked her out, and took the Mind Stone. And then, of course, she died as well. So I really liked her character a lot and gave her more depth to the character. She's in love with Vision. Vision's in love with her. He acted, human for her. Because remember, she's still on the run from the law. Scarlet Witch was good. Let's go to Doctor Strange. I mean, for a guy who only had one movie, and he had to deal with a lot, I mean, he really tapped into his powers in this movie. He didn't use the Time Stone as much, but when he used his magic, he was very good. I mean, there were moments I thought he was going to beat Thanos himself because he was just tossing things at him, using all his magic that he knows. Remember, he's very smart, so he learns quickly. Remember that. He had to study the art of magic, and he did, and that's why he's the Sorcerer Supreme. And then, of course, you have, like I said, he was great. I love Doctor Strange, one of my favorite Marvel characters. He was great. I love the banter between him and Tony Stark. They're pretty much polar opposites, but also pretty much the same as arrogant people. Like, they like to do things their own way, So, he had to protect the stone. He wanted to protect the stone. But Tony Stark was like, yo, let's get rid of that thing now. He was like, no, I gotta protect the universe. And he did, because he had like 14,000 something, 114,000 visions of how the Earth was going to be, the planet, the universe was going to be destroyed by Thanos. And he only had one possibility of survival. And he had to take that opportunity. And he gives the Time Stone to Thanos to make sure Tony survives. And he did. He sacrificed himself so that way Tony would be the one to save everybody eventually, which he probably will play a big part of this in the next one, but hopefully. Let's see. We didn't see Hawkeye, so like I said, we don't know where he's going to be, but I'll talk about him in my thoughts on the after credit, which I'll get to in a minute. Let's see. Nebula, obviously, he just lost her sister. And I don't know. She's probably going to have to team up with the Avengers now, who's left, just so she can get her revenge on everybody. Maybe Shuri will refix her and make her vibranium metal or something. I don't know. That could be a possibility. Black Panther's gone now, so she's going to need to do something. Like I said, Ant-Man has to come in eventually. After we see his movie, we'll get a clear idea of what his role in the next one is. For all we know, like I said, Wasp is going to be there, but she could get wiped out as well, because remember, half the universe gets wiped out. War Machine, that was surprising that he even had enough screen time that he did. That was cool. I think now he's going to be on the opposite side of the law now. I'm not too sure because he kind of disobeyed the government order of arresting Steve Rogers when he came back into the facility. So that's interesting. What's Wakanda going to do now without their king? Because now it's vulnerable without him. So that's interesting. Black Widow's still Black Widow. Obviously, Rocket's probably going to team up with everybody just to get some revenge. Because remember, the Guardians are all gone. There's no Guardians. He's the only Guardian member left. Gamora's dead. Star-Lord's dead. Drax is gone, and Mantis. They're all dead. So, or gone, or whatever. Who's left? Like I said, so Rocket's going to have to stay on Earth too. We have no idea what's he going to do. He can't just go throughout the galaxy to himself. Without Groot, what's his purpose, So there's that. Let's talk about Star-Lord. I like Star-Lord a lot. I like Chris Pratt playing this character, and there's a lot of people out there saying that it was his fault that he angered Thanos at such a point because they were trying to take out the gauntlet from him. I get what they're talking about, but in other ways, I do feel like he was just angry. Remember, the guy just had his own solo movie with his team. You know, he found out his mom died. He found out that his dad was a douchebag, just his, ego. And then he lost the only father he ever had was Yandu. So obviously we all knew he was gonna lose some steam if he found out he lost Gamora, especially after she told him she loved him. So that's gonna drive any man go crazy. So like I said, I do get what they said that he was the one who cost everybody their lives, but I do feel for the guy. So there's that. So he's gone too, but they'll come back eventually. Who's left? Jeez, I don't even know. There's so many. I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen now because even in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., if you watch that show, spoilers for that show, there's been an alien invasion coming on for them to fight. So what the heck is that going to be about? No idea. How does this tie into Thanos? No idea. Like I said, they probably won't even mention it, but that's something that could be considered. Maybe half of them get wiped out too. We don't see it. Yeah, so... And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. So stay tuned for part 3 of this video, and I'll be right back. Thank you very much, and have a good day.